Hello, and good time zone, and what is up, gamers? Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Happy afternoon. It's nice to be here, and welcome. Hello. Hello, Mesh. Thank you for the hydrate straight off the bat. Very much appreciated. It is humid. It rained like crazy here. And instead of fixing the humidity, it's just made it more humid. I don't like this. It's so damp. Anyways, how's everyone else doing? I hope that the weather is a pleasant humidity level for you wherever you are. Hello, Dan, as well. Okay, I'm taking a sip of my beverage because I have been directed to. This is tea. Incidentally, this is mint tea. I'm sipping my mint tea. Oh, minty, delicious. Hello, Dan. How are you doing? Welcome in. Hello, Gumby. Hello, hello. I hope you are all well. It's wonderful to see you. It's wonderful to be here. And it turns out that for at least portion of the starting soon segment, my mic was not muted. So if you heard me walking in and out of the room and muttering to myself dictating notes into my phone for future things I gotta write down, no you didn't. I am very intelligent. Oh no, I'm not very intelligent. Ah, shoot, hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. Oh, I goofed. The overhead light wasn't on, so the lighting would have been all screwy. And I did not want to switch it on while on camera because that may have caused like a flash, and that might be not good for some viewers' like brains. So I didn't want to do that. Anyways, we've got some affirmations straight off the bat, and I don't know about y'all, but I could do with an affirmation or two. So very much appreciated. So first of all, Dan wants an affirmation. So I've got two decks. Got two dicks here. Dick, number one. This one. Okay. So I'm going to find some words of affirmation for you and for everyone, of course. The affirmations are for sharing. And thank you very much for the redemption. I do appreciate it. I hope you are all well. I hope everyone had good weekends. How were your weekends, friends? I hope that they were good. I had a nice weekend. I baked brownies yesterday and they turned out so good. Possibly some of the best brownies I've ever made. And the first ones that I've had to make with gluten-free flour. So I'm honestly so relieved that they're actually like edible and that they turned out really, really nice. Okay, I have plucked a random old card. That, incidentally, they were marmalade brownies, so I blobbed some marmalade on the top and like marbled it through, and it's so nice. So nice. I love a good brownie accoutrement, like a little swirl of caramel or tahini brownies. They're actually very good. It's like chocolate halva. But marmalade brownies? I don't know why I've never made marmalade brownies before. It's the goodness of brownie and the goodness of marmalade all in one convenient package. What's not to love? So good. So good. Also, it's the nice Danish marmalade. That's one of my favorites, so that's nice as well. Anyways, here, let's have an affirmation. And I think this is an important reminder for everyone. Take good care of yourself. Take good care of yourself, everyone. Your well-being is important. You are important. You deserve, self-care and rest and things that will make you feel better and that will make your life be as good as it can. Take good care of yourself. That doesn't mean, I don't know, the really difficult stuff. I mean, maybe sometimes it does mean tackling the really difficult stuff if it helps in the long run. But it also just means, if you're not up for tackling the difficult stuff, it's okay to not do it straight away. Like, that's fine. Sometimes you need to rest instead, and that's important as well. It's all part of taking good care of yourself. So please do, because you are important, and your mind and your body are important, and they deserve being taken good care of. So please do this. That is affirmation number one. Anyways, so how good was it really, says Mesh. So good. Very, very good. Anyways, weekend was good but brownieless. I mean, most of my weekends are brownieless, and they can still be good weekends, so I'm sure that it was a good weekend. I'm sorry I can't email brownies to y'all. But unfortunately, the last time I tried, I just ended up eventually having to buy a new PC, because apparently mashing baked goods into the USB ports, disk drives, and HDMI ports of your machine eventually can cause some problems. Where do I subscribe to the Sammy Brownie newsletter? I will be reiterating the recipe somewhere, Mesh. I promise I will be. It'll probably end up on my socials as soon as I've taken an aesthetic photo of one of the corner pieces. It is an old recipe that's up on my YouTube channel, but with a few tweaks because I can't eat wheat anymore. Dan says weekend was good. I want to think. Congratulations! That's a sign I should get the ice cream out. Yes, do it. Do it. You deserve it. Rest in peace. Hello, welcome in. How are you doing? It's lovely to see you. How are you? Hope you're having a good Monday. Hello, Aoife. Welcome in. Hope you're having a good Monday as well. Hello, hello. It's time for affirmation number 2 from the other affirmation deck. Anyways, but yeah, my weekend was good in as much as I made brownies, and I also started piecing together the next sewing project that I'm working on, which it's literally just a new petticoat, so it's a fairly basic skirt. But I'm not going for like 18th century accuracy like I was with my last piece, just cause you know, like, I'm lazy. I'm a real lazy bones, and I appreciate having at least some like elastic in my skirt waistbands. Because it means I can sit funny and not worry about, like, drawstrings digging in or anything like that. Because I, again, am a very tired bear. And I'm probably going to be wearing this, like, at home and on the bus and in all kinds of other unpredictable situations where I want to be comfy. So I am putting an elastic panel at the back of the waist. But otherwise, it's literally just 2 rectangles sewn up and then gathered into a waistband. So nice and easy. Eva says, I had such a funny thing happen this morning. Do go on. I've gotten rated into an artist channel during the night. In the morning, I thought, she seems nice, so I followed. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Congratulations on finding a cool new streamer. That rocks. Turns out her cats are named Bunny and Aoife. I knocked over Celeste's star chart. That I was so surprised by that. Is such an adorable coincidence. That's you. That's you. That's you, Aoife. That's amazing. Oh, I love it. That's so sweet. That is so sweet. The bunny is called Sprout, but she calls her Bun. Oh, that's very sweet. Bunny. I love it. I love it. That's really adorable. Congratulations on finding your feline namesakes. It's amazing. So we have another affirmation, and it's... I think we've had this one before, but you know what? It's a good one. Dance like nobody's watching. Or maybe we haven't had this one, and I just think it's fun. I don't know. But that's I think that I just love this artwork. I think it's so cute. Dance like nobody's watching. Which I think is this is advice that I struggle to live by personally. I'm not good at this, partially because I used to be real good at dancing like nobody's watching, and then someone would acknowledge the fact that they have been watching and either tell me to stop because I'm being whatever the like 80s/90s equivalent of the word cringe would have been, or someone will notice, acknowledge, and be like, wow, it's really cool that you were dancing that much. And then I get all embarrassed because I don't like being perceived. But you know what? This is still a wonderful bit of advice. If you don't have my baggage, please do this. And I should probably do this more. If I went to music gigs, I definitely would. And I definitely do in my house. And I probably do involuntarily other times when I'm just out and about and don't realize I'm doing it. And I'm over 40, so people just probably chalk it up to, oh, she's a little crazy. Which, no, I'm not. I just, I'm tired. And I'm burnt out and I'm not as good at masking as I used to, okay? Anyways, that guy looks like one of the vampires from Movie in the Shadows. Oh, do you mean Deacon, played by the amazing Johnny Bruff from the... That's literally what this affirmation desk is based on. Well spotted, Aoife. Okay, the guy who plays this vampire, is doing some gigs in London, like, next month, and I'm so annoyed that I do not have the energy or budget to go see more gigs in London. Because I'm old and tired, and because I live just far away enough from London that if I go to a gig and it finishes after, like, 9 p.m., because of the buses and stuff, I'm probably not going to get back to Oxford until, like, midnight, and then I have to take the scary nighttime bus. Which isn't really that scary, but the last time I had to take the late nighttime bus, there were 2 other people on the bus besides me and the driver, and they were drunk as a skunk, which was, you know, they were jolly drunk, so, like, it was okay. But it was clearly the end of the bus driver's shift, and he just wanted to get back to the depot because this was the last run of this bus before it went back to the depot. So he was, like, just speeding around. He was rolling around my bus route at the speed of sound, and, like, there's no traffic at that time of night. Like, it's fine. But also, it's really scary being on a bus. Going around sort of, like, the tight curves of this quiet, like, you know, suburban residential neighborhood of Oxford, at absolutely over whatever the speed limit is. I think it's like 20 miles. He was definitely going well beyond 20 miles. I was terrified for my life the whole time. I did not enjoy that. Especially, you know, it's late at night and I'm tired because I just got back from a very eventful day in London that ended after 9 p.m. Past 9 p.m. is quite late, says Aoife. I agree. So now if I'm going to go to a gig in London, it has to be something of great import. If it's going to be in the evening, I'm going to have to stay in a hotel and come home the next day because I do not like traveling home that late at night. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. And the night bus also runs significantly less frequently than the daytime schedule, which means potentially I'm standing at a bus stop waiting for my local bus to come take me home for upwards of like 30 or 40 minutes. And when it's the middle of the night and you're in an area of town that's pretty dead, and you're a single vulnerable person, that's real scary. And I don't like that. And, you know, when I was younger, I was a lot more fearless about that kind of thing. But, I can't do it. I can't do it. I need to forage for food and possibly do dishes to make food. I'll be back. Have a wonderful forage, Aoife. I hope you find lots of amazing and delicious, like, nuts and seeds and berries. I hope you find some berries. I don't know if you mean foraging, like, in the woods, or if you mean foraging, like, in the cupboards. But regardless, I hope you find some nice food. Have a nice BRB. Anywho, so we're painting today. I don't know if you know this, but we're painting today, or at least that's the intention. And it's really humid, so I'm super warm. I've got the window cranked open here to try and get some nice cool air in, but it can only do so much. It probably doesn't help that I just made like 2 hot teas. Maybe I should get a cold drink from the fridge as well to supplement my hot teas. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Be back in a second. Sorry! Okay. Sorry about that. I return with a beverage. In English. It's a sports drink. Thrilling stuff. Oof. It's vaguely maybe grapefruit flavored, I think. I'm not actually sure what flavor it's supposed to be. It's just good. Has a light salinity to it. And it's definitely citrusy. Yeah, it's got like a grapefruity vibe. But like sweet and slightly salted grapefruit. Sports drink! Keeps you hydrated. Keeps your electrolytes up when you're sweating to death under the oppressive humidity of the United Kingdom. God. You know, when I decided to move here, I did not look up what are the relative humidity levels of the United Kingdom. And part of the reason I didn't do that is that it was already humid as balls where I lived in Canada for like several months of the year. Like just like disgusting. To the point where like for several months out of the year, it was too hot for me to sleep in my own bedroom. So I ended up like dragging my bedroom fan downstairs to my living room and sleeping on the couch because it was like maybe 2 degrees cooler down there. It's just unpleasant. And then I move here and lo and behold, it's also unpleasantly humid. The temperature doesn't go up that far, which is I'm grateful for, but it's still pretty ding dang humid, and that I don't like. I think I was tricked into thinking that it wasn't quite so humid by my initial like visits to here, where I think I just got lucky. I was here once in like January for several weeks, and it was just nice. It was fine. I loved it. And then I was also here in like June, I think, and it did get warm. It got like t-shirt warm, but I never felt like I'm being crushed under the heel of an oppressive humidity. You know what I mean? Like it was fine. So yeah, that's weird. Oh yeah, so this is the I don't know if you can see the sketch here. But it's real silly. So, let me bring it in for you. Mesh, thank you very much for the hydrate. I will have another sippy of my Bocari Sueto, if that's okay. Chin chin. Delicious. Thank you for the hydrate. I appreciate it. Whew. How could you tell I needed it? Anywho. So today's prompt, unless I'm very much mistaken, oh shoot, am I very much mistaken? I hope I'm not very much mistaken, but you know, I might be. I don't think I am, but, shoot. Anyways. I'm just gonna check the prompt list and make sure I'm doing the right word, because there's a tiny chance that I might not be. And that would be embarrassing. So if you don't know, I'm doing Hollow Knight Art Month, which is an entire month dedicated to Hollow Knight art prompts. And today's is indeed Distant Village. I'll pop a link to the website if you want to follow along or do your own Hollow Knight art. It's here. It's just a fun time. If you think that kind of thing is fun, want to do some Hollow Knight fan art and participate in a little event, it's a good time. Anyways, so if you're not familiar with the canon of Hollow Knight, there is an area of the game called the Distant Village where you enter a room and you see it's like a building with a bunch of these villagers who are like, you must be tired, sit and rest. And there is a bench in the middle of the room, and these guys are all inviting you to rest on the bench and have a nice relaxing time. And I won't spoil what else happens in this area. Instead, I will just show you the little guy having a delicious fight milk hot chocolate, and one of the villagers is also bringing some cake. You can see there's a cozy crochet blanket draped over the back of the bench. It's just a lovely, cozy time. And I thought that would be a fun, nice thing to paint. My uncle works for Nintendo and says that this is a deleted scene from Hollow Knight. Indoor picnic, says Dan. Just needs bookshelves. Dan, were you here? Were you here when I spoiled there's a prompt later on this month for which I decided to do Monomon in the teacher's archives, and wouldn't you know it, she's reading a book, and what's that behind her? Oh, it's bookshelves. Also, it was really fun doing this pose for Monomon, because she's got a really interestingly shaped body, and so trying to figure out how she would, like, sort of sit comfortably in a comfy chair was very fun. Anyways, I decided not to draw in all of the villagers from the distant village, just because, good lord, that would take so long. And I'm trying to keep these things to a minimum because I have to do one every day, and I also have... Oh, sorry. I also have, like, other jobs that I'm doing in the meantime, like cooking meals and filling in spreadsheets and answering emails and scripting my next 2 YouTube videos, which I'm working on simultaneously in the hopes that I might be able to get one out, like, not 8 months from now. Speaking of which, in case anyone missed it, my new YouTube video went up on Friday afternoon. I am pretty proud of how it turned out. It was delayed by several months because I got sick for, like, the first 3 months of the year. It was meant to be out back in, like, January, but I didn't actually manage to end up completing the filming and editing and all that jazz until the beginning of May. So here it is, and I hope you enjoy it. It's all about soap making in the 18th century and a little bit of the history of getting clean in the period, and just a little bit of, like, casual debunking, you know, the huge, and me going off on tangents that probably nobody's interested in. I had to restrain myself from going off on even more tangents and never getting the thing done, which is happening with the script of one of my upcoming YouTube videos, because I'm like, how much do people actually want to hear about, like, the history of the railways? And the answer is probably not, like, no. The answer is probably just, like, we don't. And there are probably other people who've covered, like, similar topics already better than I have with regard to the history of the railways, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to touch on it. So, I hope some of my audience is also the train type autism. I'll be honest, I'm not massively the trains type as much as, like, the railway stations type. I'm really interested in railway stations. But also, to a certain extent, I have an interest in things like railways, but not so much trains themselves. If a train goes past, I can't tell you, oh yeah, that's a class 3-1A, because I don't know. I don't know any of that. I know the cross-country trains that are unpleasant because of the way that, like, the positioning of the toilets is such that the whole train ends up kind of vaguely smelling like a train loo, and are just generally a little kind of, anyways. Yeah, so that's a thing to look forward to. Anyways, thank you to everyone who's already, like, watched and commented and shared. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. Obviously, if you're like, this doesn't interest me in the slightest, no pressure whatsoever. That's absolutely fine. I don't expect that there's going to be, like, I don't expect that the Venn diagram of people who are interested in the kinds of things that I like talking about on YouTube videos and the kind of things that happen on, my Twitch streams, that Venn diagram is not likely to be a circle. That's fine. But if you're here for one or you're here for the other, I'm very grateful. So, thank you. Anywho, could just okay, Dan said I could just swerve and make the bookshelves big windows instead. I mean, that would be more on brand for the teacher's archives area of the game. But you know, the thing is, I kinda do just wanna have them be some bookie shelves, because it feels like Monomon's epithet is Monomon the teacher, so it feels like she would have some bookshelves, you know? So I'm more than happy to provide that. Okay, this is gonna need to dry before I can, like, start doing my background washes for the piece. So, this one, man, this character's a weird shape. This was a weird shape to try and draw, but this is just, I'm just doing a big old portrait of the Pale Lurker here. It's also hard to get, like, emotion into these characters with really, with faces that are just like a bunch of randomly placed circles. But I tried to do it, with this creature who is very weird, and I'll be honest, I forgot what their name was. But she's one of those characters that I tend to kind of forget about because you encounter her once in, like, a fight that I beat fairly quickly. But there are things you can kind of extrapolate from her backstory. She kind of feels Gollum-esque in as much as she's kind of solitary and she's gone a little bit weird as a result of this, isolation, and she has, like, a treasure that she covets, and you get into a boss fight with her, and eventually, she dies, and you take the treasure from her, and it all feels a little sad. 'Cause, you know, from a Doylist perspective in-game, she possesses an item that you need in order to progress and complete the game. But from a Watsonian perspective, you're just hunting down and attacking this girl who's clearly gone through some stuff, and the one thing that gives her, like, an iota of comfort is this little treasure that really is not of great significance to anyone else in the world, but clearly means a lot to her because it's all that she has, and you as the player character kill her for it. That, you know, as, like, a game thing, the boss fight is quite fun in terms of the mechanics and stuff, but when you actually sit down and think about it, it's incredibly sad. She's a very tragic character. And so I didn't really know what to do with that, so I decided to just at least sort of memorialize her with a proper little bit of portraiture. And so that's what I'm doing for the Pale Lurker. I hope... Is that fun, chat? Is that the cheerful, cozy fun you were here for? I hope so. Oh, speaking of fun and cheerful and cozy, by which I mean not at all, the prompt for Wednesday is fluke, and I'm not going to show you the sketch that I have for that, not because I want it to be a big fun surprise, but because I think it's so bad, I don't think I can finish that sketch. I think I need to just fully redraw, like, something else. I don't know how to interpret the fluke prompt into something that I feel like I can actually put on, like, my art feeds. You know? I don't even know how I can make something that I can at the very least post to, like, Kara, if not add to my portfolio there. Because all of the fluke characters are just so stinking gross. They're just so gross. I don't know how to do. I don't. I'm sure I'll figure something out, like, tonight or tomorrow and redo it. I have a really good idea for the tram prompt, and I don't want to spoil it for you because I think it's going to be the best thing I do this month if I can pull it off. Like, I'm so excited. I will probably... I'm trying to scale back on the number of limited edition Blue Raspberry Fight Milk Hollow Knight art prints that I do, because they're so small in edition that, to be honest, I don't make any money off of them, but I'd really like to not lose money on doing them. So I'm probably not going to do very many, but if this one turns out, I will do that one. Speaking of, I have limited edition Hollow Knight art prints if you're here for Hollow Knight stuff, in my shop. If you're here for other stuff, I also have other prints. Anyways, Dan says, I started a Sherlock Holmes game last week. It confuses me. Tell me more. Tell me more, Dan. I've only played one Sherlock Holmes game in my time, and it was... Oof, it was a doozy. But that may be the type of game it was, which was bad. That's not a comment on the acting. It was an FMV game, and the acting was, how shall I say? Some of it was really good. Some of it less so. Anyways, I enjoy some of those old FMV games, but some of them just like the game mechanics are ooh, cumbersome. I think cumbersome is a good word for it. Some of the game mechanics in some of these like FMV games are cumbersome to say the least. Like, for this one, I solved the mystery. I had all of the evidence. I could point to exactly who did it. I was like, okay, Sherlock Holmes wants to solve the case. And the judge is like, no, I don't think you have. And then I had to go back and, like, click on one thing that apparently I hadn't clicked on before, and it took me, like, 30 minutes to find which thing it was after, like, furiously clicking every possible combination of items in the game. And then it was like, congratulations, you solved the mystery. It's like, excuse me, Judge, did you just know all along and you were waiting for me to figure it out? Because that's not how these things work. Also, why am I presenting my evidence to a judge? Like, I'm a detective, not a lawyer. What are we doing here? Anyways, Dan says, well, this game seems to suggest that he was born overseas. Watson isn't real. He's just an imaginary friend. Oh, I think I know the one you're talking about. Maybe? But also, what? I mean, I guess that's a twist. That's not a worse twist than any of the twists that they did in the BBC Sherlock show, which was... how shall I say?
Attention.
I won't, because we're getting a raise instead.
Choppers.
Hello. Hi, Sammy Ann. Welcome in. I was just about to take a sip of my tea. I'll do that now if you don't mind. It's lemon and ginger. Anyways, how are you? How was your stream? Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the raid. It's lovely to see you. Hi. Let me get a shout out for Sammy Ann. If you are somehow not familiar with Sammy Ann art, and I definitely spelled the shout out correctly. It is so hard for me to type out words whilst also speaking. Hello, Sammy Ann. How was your stream? What did you do today? I would love to hear all about it. Hello. Welcome, and hello to Lugia as well, and all the lovely raiders. It's so good to see you. Welcome in. I hope that you are well. For anyone who's new here, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Twitch user Sammy Kelch. I'm a variety streamer. Do cozy art streams on Mondays and most Thursdays, and then I do cozy game streams on Fridays and every once in a while on a Thursday if I'm feeling extra spicy. Today we are drinking 2 kinds of tea and 1 sports beverage, and I'm doing some art based on the distant village area of Hollow Knight, which I've only applied masking fluid to so far, but I promise it will eventually look like an entire scene. But, yeah. Hello. Lovely to see you. Welcome in. We were just talking about, Dan's been playing a Sherlock Holmes game, where apparently Sherlock Holmes was born overseas and Watson is just his imaginary friend, which is weird. Like, that feels weird to me. Dan says there wasn't a BBC Sherlock show. That was just a drug trip you were on. No! Oh, no! The thing that sticks to me most about the BBC Sherlock show is that, number one, I enjoyed the first few episodes, and maybe, like, the first season or two, like, a reasonable amount. But that the finale was so bad that fans were convinced that there was a secret extra actual ending to the show that was going to be airing the following week. Like, people legit believed this. It was like, there was a completely different program in the TV listings, but they were like, no, it's a coded message, see, because it's called this. And there was one of those things was in the background of an episode of, okay. Just admit that the show was kind of uneven. It's okay. Anyways. Sammy says we're continuing the Hollow Knight raid train. Yay! Had some lovely new viewers. Lovely new viewers come in on a sculpture, and I did a Hollow Knight piece. Ooh, nice. Lovely to see it. As always, if you would like to contribute to the Art Tax Fund, I am very happy for you to do so. If you just want to rest, that's okay as well. But if there's anything that you would like to share, do let me know. Or feel free to whisper a link, and I would be happy to share it with the class. In the meantime, for anyone who is new here, here's some of what my art looks like. Namely, here's what I painted yesterday. because I'm doing an entire month's worth of art prompts specifically for the game Hollow Knight. I do paint other things for the rest of the year. I do have other interests. I have many other interests. I've been on a Star Trek kick of late. I haven't had a chance to watch any old Star Trek or new Star Trek. I don't actually know what streaming service Star Trek is on here, but I want to. I've just been watching a bunch of reviews and video essays about Star Trek, and it's making me want to go watch it again. Anyways, here's here's what I shared yesterday. Just a little fight. Specifically, Rava here wants to have a go, but the little guy isn't really. They're not feeling it. They're just this big dude's like Rava and like taking a swing at them, and they're just like, you all right, bro? Is everything okay? Anyways, that was that. This is the one from the day before, which was the Void Lighthouse, which was an area of the game I almost forgot was there. And I am not immune to being given the opportunity to paint a lighthouse motif, which is one of my very favorite things to do because I live in a landlocked county and it makes me feel closer to the sea, I guess. Anyways, we've had a request for an affirmation. So let me pull out one of my affirmation decks. Thank you, Gumby. I'd love to make an affirmation deck, but I don't know if I have it in me to do this many artworks. But that would be really fun. Also, I don't know if anybody else would want one, but I could just, you know what? I have a whole bunch of, art paper that's roughly this size. So I could just make myself a bunch of affirmation cards. Actually, that's a really good idea. I should do that. I should get a whole bunch of watercolor packs of the, like, A7 size. Actually, I guess they're slightly larger because A7 is about half of this sheet, so they're about this big. Yes. Ooh, I have Link sending Hollow Knight Whip to keep on theme. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Sammy Ann. We will check on it just as soon as I've finished finding us an affirmation. Sammy Ann says, my Hollow Knight player here was like, I always thought they were saying Brava, which is cool because she feels like she learned something new from your painting. I mean, I don't know. It always sounded like they were saying Rava to me, which is why I painted it saying Rava. I don't think that's necessarily canon either way. Like, I know there's also some disagreement as to whether Izelda, when she, like, sighs, if she's saying Bafanada or Bafanada. You know, people disagree as to whether or not she's saying it with a P or an F. And I don't know. I think I kind of now veer onto the side of Bapanada, but whatever. I won't tell her if you don't. Fair enough. Thank you. Anyways. Okay. I have selected a card of affirmation. Let's see what we get. It's... Okay. How did the deck know that I needed this today? I mean, I need this every day. But in case anyone else in chat needs this as well, you are not too old and it is not too late. And I think this is a good thing to meditate on and remember, because it's true. You know? Like, that's what Jackie would want, okay? That's what Jackie here would want. She wants you to know there is still time. Whatever it is that you think you don't have time to do, there is time. There is still time. Do it. Okay? And take your time if you need to. But, like, you don't have to not start because you don't think that there's time. Like, it's not too late. You're not too old. Do the thing, okay? Whenever you're ready. You can. And you will. Affirmation time. This is my favorite new stream segment, by the way. It's just getting to remember nice, important things that we should think about and be aware of and tell ourselves because they are true. It's good. Anyways, Dan says, it's my birthday tomorrow. I only have 6.5 hours before I'm out of time. But then your birthday strikes. It's your birthday. And happy birthday Eve. Happy birthday Eve, my friend. I hope if you are the kind of person who likes having birthday plans, I hope your plans are lovely. I hope you have a nice time. I hope you are able to do something fun for yourself. Because you deserve that. I hope you get to do something fun for yourself. I hope you get to treat yourself if that kind of thing is your bag. I know some people really aren't into, like, observing or celebrating their birthdays, and if you just want to have, like, a normal day of it, then I hope you have a really good normal day. But if you do want to observe it in a fun way, I hope you get to do that. That's rad as heck. Happy birthday, Eve, my friend. Alright. I am retrieving... I'm retrieving Sammy Ann's Hollow Knight whip. If I can get it to load, that'd be... Drive. Come on. Oh! Okay, it's not fair for me to just squeal with delight and not share with you. Sorry, where's my art share screen? Show and tell screen. There we go. There we go. It's a bookmark concept, says Sammy Ann. I would love to see it. I would love to see that. This is so stinking cute. They're reading a book. They're reading a book. Oh, and I can already tell that, like, the environment is going to be lovely. This is so stinking cute. You know, save your spot. That gets applause. Good job. I love it. That is so cute. Hold on, let me get a closer look. Oh, bless. I love the little stacks of books piled up beneath the bench. I love that they're clearly engrossed in whatever it is that they're reading. I hope it's a fun book. I just love this. I love, like, you've nailed, like, the Hollow Knight color scheme so well. This is so stinking cute. I love it. I love it already. I can't wait to see what it looks like when it's all done. Thank you so much for sharing. The circle is to make me know where the badge cutout line will go. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. It's so cute. It had to be Green Path adjacent. Green Path is such a beautiful environment. Very good choice. Let me get another shout out for you in the chat. Because I remember how to do that. Hey, I do remember how to do that. If you're not following Sammy Ann, you should go do that. They do wonderful artworks. An absolute purveyor of whimsy. If you like tea and dragons and other fun stuff, you should definitely go give them a follow. Gazillion out of 10 do recommend. Mossy Boss is my favorite, says Sammy Ann. We give pats instead of defeat them. That is so valid of you. They do look so fluffy and cute. They do really look so fluffy and cute. Speaking of things that are cute, I get to give this art piece a colorful background. Most of it's probably going to get covered up, but I do get to give this an underpainting. That's one of the things I enjoy about Hollow Knight Art Month. And it's like the month of the year where I really get to kind of go nuts with the underpaintings of things. Which I really enjoy getting to do here. Specifically because most of the environments of Hollow Knight are quite dark, you know, and grayish and muted, but there are instances of brightness in among that, like glows of different colors, and so really it's an opportunity to take out my pastel set and to use my pastels as, like, underpainting and then sort of do layers of, like, shading and shadow on top of it. It's so much fun. I need to make a dragon inspired for that. Mossy dragon! Mossy dragon! Yes, 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 yes! I would love to see it. That would be so good. Okay, so the underpainting for this is, I think, going to be... Okay, hold up. I hate these. These weird, like... These weird printed... I wish that Derwent wouldn't do this. These weird, like... This weird sort of, like, vellum-y paper that has the color palette printed onto it. But because this has been printed rather than painted on, it's not really an accurate depiction of what the colors actually properly look like. Some of the sets are better than others, but I think you really lose some of that vibrancy of these colors when you've printed them on like this. Like, the gray looks darker. Way darker than it actually is. And, like, the peach looks weirdly gray because this paper is, like, see-through. The blues and greens are not too bad, but I think this looks a little bit dingy. This looks a little bit dingier. The lemon looks really weird compared to the, like, vibrant yellow that we get. It's just not very good. It's just, none of it's very good at all. So yeah, I wish in place of giving you this, if they just gave you like a sheet of, you know, like reasonable, like reasonably thick, um, just standard like multimedia paper that had the names and the and little squares printed onto it, so that you could then put your own swatches into that. That's so much more useful than this. This is not good. This is not good. I always do one of my own because it is not good. We're using this color as our background today, which is orchid pink, and this is what it actually looks like, importantly. Right. So I'm gonna need my somewhat big boy brush. I found that this brush is a really nice kind of compromise brush size for me. Because it's large enough that I can cover pretty much an entire canvas with it fairly quickly, which is useful if I'm just trying to like pretty much underpaint the entire area or like a large area of my small painting, but it's also still has enough of a point that I can kind of get into little nooks and crannies, which is really, really useful. I am excited, says Sammy, and what a vibrant color. It's gorgeous, and you can tell that I'm a fan of this pink because it is one of the most well-used colors in this palette. I think this one and the lavender color, I think, are the most used. They're the ones I'm going to run out of first in this set. And also the artichoke green, which is kind of like it's kind of like a sage. It's like a pastel sage color. Feels like a very 90s color. Like you would have painted your house in that color in the 90s, you know. I still would because I think it's gorgeous. I'm a big fan of like muted colors in real life, like dusty rose and sage green and like gray lavender. They're always colors that I'm drawn to when like I'm looking for something to wear or like I need a new item in my wardrobe and they do not match my coloring at all. I look much better in like clear, vibrant hues. But every time I'm like, oh, but that sage t-shirt is so pretty. I love that color and it just makes me look like crap. It's so annoying. I don't even want to surround myself with it in my house because then I'll just walk around my house feeling like my house makes me look ugly. No! So I'm not one of those people who's a strict adherent to like, you know, oh, I'm a true winter, so I can only wear these colors. Like, technically, according to my, like, color season, I shouldn't wear brown, and get in the bin, I love brown. Brown is one of my favorite colors to wear. I'm making myself a brown skirt right now, damn it. One of my favorite, like, just basic tops is a brown linen shirt. Because it's really comfy and the color is really pretty because I like a nice Richard brown, okay? Anyways. I think this is a really nice Richard pink. Sorry, I don't know why I started doing that when a color is like a rich version of the color. I'll just instead of saying it's a rich version of the color, I'll say it's a Richard version of the color. Like, this is a really, you know, sort of, oh, wow, like, these trees are a really Richard green today. It just does me a little giggle. So I like it to do it. I think my paint could be wetter. It could be a little bit more loose. It's not loose enough for me. I mean, again, most of this is going to be covered up by, like, purplish gray elements anyways, but it's really nice just having this bit of vibrant luminance lurking in the background. It really creates a lovely dimension to the artwork, I think. I hope it will. And this one, of course, where a nice villager is bringing the little guy a delicious slice of cake. I haven't decided what sort of cake I'm going to make it. I'm thinking maybe a Victoria sponge would be nice. I think maybe a Victoria sponge. Anyways, I noticed that we are due for a BRB, so I will be embarking us upon that in just a moment, but I'm going to finish this off first. So, if this is a little bit scruffy, if it's a little bit messy, it don't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Because ultimately, most of it's going to get covered anyways. But we want a nice, reasonably even layer of this. And then when we come back from BRB, I will ask everyone who's come in recently how your weekends were. I hope they were good. I had a good weekend. I wish I could share the brownies I baked with y'all, because they are amazing, and there's leftovers in the kitchen, and I'm very looking forward to having this tonight. Oh gosh. Anyways,
Doma, 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 doma!
Oh my god, Sammy Ann, thank you so much for the doma, doma, doma. Oh, thank you very much appreciated. And I hope you all enjoy the doma domas. Oh, beans. Thank you so much. And on that note, I'm gonna BRB for a minute. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, that jump scares me every single time. In the loveliest way possible. Now I'm off for some lunch, says Sammy, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely lunch. And thank you again for the raid. And thank you also for the Doma Doma. And I will see y'all very shortly, because it's time to BRB.
Attention,
Twitch user Sammy Kelsch.
shoppers.
Well, that took a minute for the alert to turn up. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. You're just in time. We just finished some ads. Hi. Hello, and welcome in. Jam! What are you doing? Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Hello, too. If chat will let me say hi to everyone, please OBS cooperate with me. Hello, Angie. Hello, Roll. Hello, Nita. Hello, mildly competent Charlie. Welcome in. How are you doing, y'all? Hello, Kirsty. Hello, Jam, of course. Hello, Spudgy. Kirsty says, stupid phone. Oh no, what's it doing? Is it being a silly sausage? I hope everything is okay. Hello, Rex. Welcome in, friends. How are you doing? It's lovely to see you, and welcome in. I did pop into Jam's stream a little earlier, so I know that some oil painting was going on. I hope it all went well. I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful day. How are you? How was your stream? Etc. It's lovely to see you, and welcome. And to anyone who's new here, hello. And to anyone who's just come in on the raid, in fact, even if you're not new here, hello. Let me get a shout out for Jam in the chat. I'm all over the place. And I was quiet for a second because I can't speak and type and spell at the same time. My brain will not do that. Twitch Mobile doesn't always copy raid calls, right? Oh, that is a mood, Kirsty. I understood the sentiment and I loved it just the same. But thank you. Anyways, if you're not following Jam, please go do a follow and all of those things. You should go do that. Jam was doing some oil painting today, which is very, very cool. And for me anyways, the most intimidating traditional art medium. So, like, mad props, friend. Good job. Need that text stream, but otherwise a good art stream. Fantastic. I'm glad you had a good time, and I'm glad that it is going well, and all of the things. And hi to anyone who's new here. I should introduce myself. Also, hello, Castle. Welcome in. How are you doing? It's wonderful to see you. Welcome, and welcome everyone. For anyone who's new here, hi, hello. My name is Twitch user Sammy Kelsch. I'm a variety streamer. I do cozy art streams on Mondays and most Thursdays. I do cozy game streams on Fridays and every once in a while on a Thursday if I'm feeling extra crispy. Today I'm working on The Distant Village from Hollow Knight and also sort of flip-flopping between that and The Pale Lurker, which I'm doing a little portrait because, I don't know, I thought it would be neat and a little different. As you can see, the little guy has decided to stop and rest on the bench. There's a little crochet blanket to keep them comfy. And they've got a little hot chocolate. And look, one of the villagers is bringing them a nice Victoria sponge as well. It's going to be a delightful time. Intimidating but fun, says Jam. Fantastic. I'm glad you've been having a good time with them. That's so cool. I'm here, says Casa. I was walking now at tram stop. Ooh, tell the tram I said hello. You know I love a good tram. It is humid. I hope you are blessed. It is humid as heck. It is very humid here as well, Casa. It is like a petrichor scented underarm. Which is the nicest possible underarm, but it's still really sweaty. That was a horrible way to describe it, and everyone has left. I am forcibly removed from my own stream. I'm so sorry. I opened this bottle to take a sip, and then I decided I didn't deserve a sip, because that was a horrible thing to say. Anyways, we call smartphones smart and flip phones dumb, but I've never seen someone incorrectly copy a raid call on a flip phone, says Rex. You know, fair point. Well made. You got us there. Thank you. It is sticky, says Cassie. Yes, it really is. Anyways, in case you're wondering what the heck other kinds of artwork that I do, and I'm sure that you are, and you do, and all that, I can show you, because I post them to the socials. And I could just do it anyways, but, I am a traditional artist working primarily in, like, wet media and related things. Ooh, actually, okay, I was going to show you a representative example of the Hollow Knight art that I've been doing this month. I'm not going to show that one because it contains very oblique, sideways, and inaccurate spoilers for Silksong, but just in case anyone is desperately avoiding those things, I'll show you this piece instead, which is of Cornifer and Iselda. Cornifer's just come home from his travels, and they are very happy to see each other indeed, because they're married, and that's cute. If you haven't just come in on the raid and you're not familiar with Jam's work, Jam has also been doing some really cool stuff for the Hollow Knight month, which I'm gonna creep on. Oh, there's Jam. Aw, isn't he lovely? Here's a piece for. I love the like high contrast look of these. It reminds me of when I used to shoot like 3200 ISO film, which is the funnest. And I just think this aesthetic is so super rad. I love these. They're so good. Here's this one, but big. Like, it's so dramatic. I love it. Anyways, but yeah, if you're not familiar with Jam, go follow, do the things. I'm up to date, but haven't posted them. I can't wait to see. I cannot wait to see. I've been creeping on the HCAM25 hashtag, just getting so much of a kick out of the things that people have been posting. We've got people recreating scenes and characters from Hollow Knight in Spore. We've got people making postage stamps of them. We've got people doing sketches with their kids. It's so good. It's so fun, and I love it so much, and y'all should go check all of it out because it's really, really good. But also, if you're not following Jam, you should do that. You can do so here. Anyways, I'm doing a painty paint, or at least attempting to do so. I have to set this aside because it isn't dry, and I don't want to wreck it. So I'm gonna add some background color to this one instead. Yes. Anyways, what was I gonna say? No. Shout out. Shout out is breaking things. Anyways. I hope y'all are having good Mondays. I hope y'all had good weekends. I baked brownies, so I mean, what's not to love about that? Because they actually turned out really nice. And I wasn't sure that they were gonna, and then they did, and I'm just so grateful for that fact. So yeah, that was nice. I wish I could share them with y'all. Do I have plans this coming week? No, not particularly. I think just working on stuff. I've got Hollow Knight Art Month to do. I've got, working on the scripts for my next 2 YouTube videos. Oh yeah, I posted a YouTube video right at the very end of last week. Here's the channel, if you're not following. I'm on that 200 creep, baby. I would love to get there before, I don't know, maybe by my birthday. If we could, my birthday's on the 25th. If I could hit 200 subscribers on YouTube by my birthday, I'd be over the moon. I'm on the tram. It says hi, it says Casa. Thank you so much. That's delightful. I love a good tram. I very much enjoy a tram situation. I'm flapping with delight at that because that's real stinking cute. Thank you. As you can tell, I no longer live in a city that has trams, so I don't get to see them very often. But I'm happy camper when I do. Speaking of, one of the upcoming Hollow Knight Art Month prompts is tram, and I know what I'm doing for it, but I haven't done the sketch yet, so I can't show you, but I am so excited for it, because it's the stupidest thing. And it's based on something that happened to me when I was riding on a tram that made me think of Hollow Knight, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, and it's an extremely deep cut for the residents of one very specific city. One very specific city. And you're just gonna have to wait like 9 to 10 days to find out what that is. Whichever day tram is, I can't remember. Anyways, this is the Pale Lurker, who, again, their story, like, it's so sad to me. We encounter them in, like, a weird boss fight once, and they just seem so sad. Anyways, Jam says, okay, I must go clean up things. I hope the art continues amazing. Thank you so much, Jam. I hope the rest of your oil painting goes super well also. It was very, very cool, and I'm sure it is going to be very, very cool, and I can't wait to see the rest of your HCAM stuff as well, and thank you again for the raid. Anyways, Rex says, I found it, and subbed and left good advice in the comments. Thank you, Rex. I appreciate that. I look forward to reading the comments. So far they've been interesting. Anyways. The tram here has to navigate many hills, says Casa. Ooh. At what level of elevation does a tram become, like... Actually, thinking of that, yeah. I was like, at what point does the utility of a tram stop being practical and you would have a funicular instead on, like, a hill situation? I think the highest tram elevation I've been on was in, oh no, what's the name of the city? Or maybe it's not a city, maybe it's a town, I don't know. It's on, like, the north coast of Wales. And it's the Great Orme Hill has a tram that goes up it, as well as one of those little cable car thingies, which scare the absolute crap out of me. And I will not cable car ever since I did the cable car in London, because I was like, it's part of the London Underground network, but it's in the air, and that's neat, so I want to do it, and there's nice views. I might be able to take cute pictures out the window of neat city skylines and landscapes and stuff. And it was an ever so slightly windy day. And that, my partner and I were the only people in the cable car, because it was like a somewhat overcast Tuesday when we were there, and it was like 10 a.m. And it's not a practical option for commuters at all. Like, why does this exist? Like, why would we want this? I don't know. Because I went to there and did the thing, and it was like a gentle breeze, and it was like, we thought we were gonna die. We were scared the whole time. I probably cried. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's probably not nearly as bad if it's on, like, a relatively calm, not windy day. But I did not enjoy it. And I'm like, why does this exist? Why would I want this? I could arrive at my ultimate destination just taking the Jubilee line a few stops along and then changing onto the DLR or something, you know? Like, no. No. Kirsty says Sammy is cool. No, I think you'll find Kirsty is cool, actually. Just correcting your statement there. I don't like to actually people very often, but actually Kirsty is cool, so there. Anyways, Cassie says, ask San Francisco. I guess they're pretty steep. Oh my god. San Francisco is one of those cities I would absolutely love to visit, and I absolutely do not want to visit because I have very short legs, and they do not handle steep elevations well. They just don't. I'm too tittle to go up and down a steep elevation. Like, I'm having reservations about the prospect of going to Stockholm in a few months, because there are areas of the city I'd like to visit that are a little bit hilly. I'm such a baby. Cable cars are great for mosh pits, says Rex. Are they now? Huh. Casa says the London cable car nowhere near as scary as going up the Alps and went, oh no. No. No, thank you. I'll stick with like the rail-based, land-based, going up a hill transit, like trams and funiculars. And how steep does a funicular have to be before it's just like a lift? I don't know. I noticed in London that a few places where there would normally be escalators, they've replaced them with, or instead installed like an inclined lift. And I went up in one of those at like one of the Liz Line stations. And it was weird. I suppose that's potentially really useful for places where maybe having like a regular sort of lift shaft isn't practical, but you still need there to be a lift because the escalator isn't accessible to everybody. But yeah, that was weird. I don't dislike it. Anyways. Casa says, glad I did all the ones I did before the spate of accidents over them in them over the past couple of weeks. Oh my goodness, yeah. Also, Flying Raisin, hello Raisin, how are you doing? It's lovely to see you and welcome. Hope you're having a lovely day. Dan says, I went to San Francisco and I only have little legs. Were you okay? I mean, I've been to Bristol and I have little legs, and that's a pretty hilly city as well, but probably not nearly as much as San Francisco, which is like, woo! It's pretty intense. So much so that there are roads that are like steep enough that they have to go up it sort of sideways, because going straight up is like, I don't know, too scary. I was just thinking the other day how much I don't like if I'm driving in a car or something and it has to stop at like the apex of a really steep hill going upwards. Oh, that makes me feel real unpleasant. I don't like that feeling at all. I always get scared that I'm gonna fall, which is really stupid. Go test your legs in Bath, says Casa. I was in Bath a few weeks ago. It was delightful. We had a lovely time. We avoided the worst of the hills. I've seen one that is as close to vertical as they can get before it's just a lift, says Casa. Yeah, I feel like that's somewhere in like one of the Alpine countries, because I think I've seen one that I was like, is this almost a lift? You know. Rex says there's a Tom Scott video about a town so steep every house has an inclined lift on it just to access their house from the road. Oh, yes. That's in New Zealand, isn't it? And that's someplace that that town is. In fact, I think the most inclined street is there's a competition for it, I think, between this one like insanely angled street in New Zealand and another insanely angled street in Wales, and I can't remember which one's actually the winner. I think it depends on the parameters, but yeah. Anyways, Raisin says I'm safe here in the Netherlands, flat as the eye can see. This is true. I have seen a video that someone did about the highest mountain in the Netherlands, and it is a very gentle hill. That's my kind of elevation. I think maybe that's one of the things I liked so much about Denmark as well. It's quite flat. Though that being said, my moderator / spouse has always said no to visiting Norfolk because he's like, it's boring because it's too flat. And I'm like, but that means we don't have to walk up any hills. Remember when we went to Bristol to look at the bridge and we had to walk up a hill and we were sweaty by the end of it because it was a really hot summer's day in the middle of the afternoon? Remember that? That wasn't pleasant. You don't get that in Norwich. Anyways, yes, there's our one mountain, says Raisin. I mean, listen, you should still be very proud that you have a mountain. Casa says you'd find most of the transport options in Switzerland terrifying. I'm not surprised. I still want to go to there, but I will probably be shaking and crying for at least a portion of it. Seen a few places in China accessed by various terrifying options. Oh, I'm not surprised. There's some interesting landscape to be had. It's a big country with some very interesting and very beautiful landscapes, but good lord. There is... Oh, speaking of Speaking of, oh gosh, where is it? There is, I don't know exactly what the parameters are for it, and we're kind of moving slightly geographically, but there is a country in Southeast Asia where they have this one bridge that they basically have to, like, deconstruct and rebuild every year. And I don't know exactly why, but this is apparently, like, the best way to have a bridge be there, which sounds terrifying, but also deeply cool. I'm gonna need to look up, unless anybody knows, I'm gonna need to look up what that is, because I think that's such a neat thing. Like, gosh. The feats of just engineering and stuff. Oh god, roads that go up mountains, like along the side of a mountain, I will never. That is, I don't know how people do that. You know, when you see a car that's, like, demonstrably almost too wide for this narrow mountain road, and just on one side of you is, like, a cliff face, and on the other side is a cliff? No! No. Anytime I see, like, travel documentaries or something where someone is in somewhere like that, or just, you know, a show about someone who lives somewhere with mountains like that, I'm like, nope. No, thank you. Anyways, I remember my sister going on a cable car in China during a storm. A cable car during a storm? No. No. Hard pass. Rex says, I want to see that big French bridge IRL one day. Ooh. Do love a good bridge. I like, you know, I like the Bristol Bridge. The Clifton Bridge. That's a nice bridge. I liked going to there. Even though it was a bit more of a walk than I was expecting to get to the bit of the park where you can properly look at it. And we didn't end up buying an ice cream at the snack bar at the top of the park either. We did go to the Cafe Nero in the neighborhood afterwards, and I got a lemonade. Anyways, bad news about the whole of Switzerland, says Casa. Listen, if I ever do end up going to Switzerland, and I do have an acquaintance who lives in Switzerland, at least one, if not multiple, who would be nice to see. But I would probably go to, like, a city and doot around that city, and I realize I'm missing out on stuff in so doing, but, I don't know. I'd love to be more intrepid than I am, but also, getting from places to places is hard, and my partner and I usually don't have that much time wherever we end up going. And we definitely don't have that much money for traveling, and most of it gets swallowed up by, like, visiting family, which I'm very fine with because I love our families. So, you know, like, that's cool. There's not a lot of background color happening in the Pale Lurkers area. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how to actually paint. There's not a lot of color happening in the background of the Pale Lurkers area, so I think what I'll do is kind of mix this silver gray with just a little bit of blue and use that as, like, an underpainting for the background. I think that's what I'm going to do. Unfortunately, my paint water is extremely pink, so if this turns out looking a little bit lilac, that's okay too. Anyways, taking a Swiss narrow gauge mountain train would probably be fun, says Rex. I feel better about, like, a train in the vicinity of mountains than I do, like, a car, because it's on rails. And I know that derailments can happen, but they're pretty rare these days. So I feel okay about it. That would be fun. And it is, you know, gorgeous. Sometimes I do wish I was more of an intrepid traveler than I am, but here we are. Anyways. But when trains lean, says Raisin, oh no. Oh no. I don't need to think about that. Oi, Savaloy's Lino, I hope you're having a beautiful day. It's lovely to see you. Welcome on in. Oh, speaking of welcoming in, my moderator / spouse has just come home. I'm gonna go quickly say hello to them. I'll be back in a second. Sunshine! Your water bottle is in the fridge. I don't know how warm you are. All the humidity came in with the rain and settled inside the house, so I'm sweaty. Happy to see you.
That's fine all day, and then I just walk from the cross and out for a while.
Oh. Okay. Have a rest, babe. Love you. Love you. Okay. Oh, Lino says hello, sunshine. He says hello. Thank you for that. And thank you for the hydrate mesh. I shall take a sip of my lemon ginger tea, which is delicious. I've been on a lemon ginger kick lately because it's yummy and it's also a good choice for the tum-trums. Tum-trums? Tum-tums. I read the word train at the same time that I was trying to say tum-tum, and it came out tum-trums. I think I might be a little tired today, y'all. I don't know if that's evident, but I think it's a distinct possibility. Oh, this is very much more soft corn flour than I was intending, but that's fine. We will supplement with a wash of sort of bluish gray, like a deeper bluish gray, but allow it to have a little bit of sort of a glowy bloom in the middle, I think is no bad thing. Just trying to give an element of a Hollow Knight-esque sort of background lighting effect, I suppose, in this, which is a somewhat more portrait-y piece. Which I did for the seer as well. And I'll probably do at least like a third one before the month is up, but I'm not sure what yet. Maybe the Dung Defender or something. I think that would be really cute. Anyways, this character is such a weird shape. Like, she's such a weird shape. It was hard to figure out how to do. But hopefully it'll be okay. Anyways. What were we talking about? Trains, obviously. Lifts, funiculars. I do like, have I ever been on a dangle train? I don't think I've ever been on a dangle train. I would love to take the dangle train. I don't know if I would enjoy the dangle train, but I would love to at least have done it, even if it ends up being unpleasant. I'm sure it's fine. I just haven't been on one. Anyways, by dangle train I mean one of those trains where like where the train car is suspended from like a rail on the top of it rather than being on rails on the bottom, that you see in some cities. I know there's a couple cities in Germany that have one. I just think they're neat. But okay, I'm picking up some bluish black for the rest of... Do dangly roller coasters count? Roller coasters and trains definitely have like some DNA in common, don't they? That's something I haven't really given a ton of thought to, but actually now that you mention it, roller coasters and trains do have some DNA in common. Except one is intentionally scary and sometimes the other one is unintentionally scary. Anyways. Okay, I'm hoping to try and get some measure of like a gradient or fade of these two colors kind of into each other, but I'm not sure how well I'll be able to pull it off. But I shall give it my absolute bestest, regardless. I think what I'll do is I'll do sort of a... I'll do sort of a surround of this color and then bring back the blue to cut the lighter blue to kind of blend it out, as it were. I think that's probably the easiest and the best way to do it. But I know not. I not know. But as with these things are often the case, I'm just kind of goofing around and fudging things until I feel like it looks okay. One of the core principles of doing, especially doing a daily art prompt situation, is fluff around and find out. Not done dangly train, says Casa. You should put it on the list. It's on my list. Speaking of done many monorail, says Casa. Ooh, yeah. Monorail delightful. Except can't think of monorail without thinking about the Simpsons episode about the monorail. Like, how did that work out for Brockway, Ogdenville, or North Haverbrook? It's a good question we should be asking. I have way too much Simpsons references, it taking up precious real estate in my head, it turns out. That I just remembered the names of the cities that had failed monorails in The Simpsons. What the nuts. And here we are. Anyways. My city only has buses and 2 railway stations with trains that go to other towns and cities. Sigh. It's not really, I would say, like, my city of residence isn't really set up for trams or that kind of thing. It's barely set up for cars. This is especially the city center is very medieval. It's barely set up for cars. Like, the parking is very expensive. They don't want you to drive here, ultimately. Like, they really just don't. And that's fair. Because this is a medieval city, and it's just not set up for cars, and the emissions are probably bad for you. You know, all that jazz. The emissions in the city center are already, like, god-awful. Like, I can attest to the fact that I had to get an asthma inhaler when I lived closer to the city center, and when I moved out to, like, a suburban area closer to, like, the fringes of the city, I found that my need for an inhaler went away because I just regained the ability to breathe because the air quality is so much better when you go outside of the city center. That's bad. Linus' The Simpson monorail episode was superb. Oh, 100%, absolutely. I was thinking recently about, like, The Simpsons like, what would it take for The Simpsons to decide, like, this is our last season, the show is ending? Because I honestly don't know. Because I feel like I haven't watched any recent seasons of the show. I have no idea what's happening. Like, every once in a while I hear, like, you know, oh, so-and-so guest starred on The Simpsons. And I'm like, The Simpsons is still going? What? But man, back in its heyday when I used to watch Simpsons episodes, it was really good. It was a damn good show. It's probably still an okay show for the most part. But also, you know, like, the voice actors must be getting close to, like, retirement age, you know? Like, some of them are probably, like, the show started, like, 30 some odd years ago. Some of them are probably in their 70s now. And they're still going at it. I feel like the thing that would make the show end, probably, is, like, if one of the cast members decided to retire, or, like, gosh forbid, passed away. I don't know if they could come back and be like, well, we're just gonna recast Marge, or whoever. Like, that would just feel wrong, I think. Asthma increase in major cities is a very real proven existence, says Rex. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. It's bad. Similarly, like, I guess, in terms of other types of physical evidence, whenever I'm in the center of London for, like, a day or two, I feel so much more grody by the end of the day than I do when I'm in, like, you know, the neighborhoods of, you know, like, Oxfordshire that I visit on a semi-regular basis, like, whether it's, you know, where I go to get my groceries or, you know, places where I have meetings and stuff. Or even if I have to spend a day in the city center, it's nothing like going to London for a day and coming home and just feeling like your skin is covered in just like a layer of filth. You know what I mean? It's like, oh. Cassis says they've had a few cast members pass, just not a Simpson. This is true. They have sadly lost a few cast members, but I guess the difference is, like, there is such a massive cast of supporting characters that, like, when a supporting cast member has passed away, they can acknowledge that in the credits and then either just, you know, focus on other supporting characters, or just have those supporting characters appear in the background but not, like, be the focus of any episodes more easily. But if Bart or Lisa decided, like, okay, you know what, I'm 95 years old now, I want to spend some time with my grandkids and not in the studio for whatever reason, I don't think after this many seasons that they would be able to just be like, okay, let's just recast the character and not have it be something that, like, people hate. Even if it's, like, a decent recast, I feel like people wouldn't like that, and I don't know if they would want to do that. Thank you for the hydrate mesh. I'm gonna take a sip of my beverage. With that being said, though, the Muppets have pulled this off on multiple occasions, and I think they've gotten away with it, but it's kind of different. I mean, obviously, very famously, Jim Henson passed away quite young, in, like, the late 80s or early 90s, if memory serves. I know, I remember, like, I was a Muppets enjoyer when it happened, and I was absolutely heartbroken. I think it was the first time, like, I was very young, so it was, like, the first time in my existence that someone of that level of import to, like, a creative world that I enjoy had passed, that I was really, like, upset about it. I remember just they ran, you know, sort of a piece in the local newspaper about it, and there was this illustration of Kermit the Frog, and he was really sad and wearing a black armband, and I just sat with that picture from the newspaper and just felt really sad for a really long time. But yeah. But when, you know, that happened and they were like, okay, what do we do? And what they ended up doing was getting, you know, like, another voice actor to do those characters' voices, and it was fine. And the Muppets have continued, and, you know, they've recast either because voice actors retired or because they passed away or whatever, because the Muppets have been going since, like, the late 60s. So they've recast Muppet voices, like, multiple times over the years with great success. So it is possible. But I think the difference with The Simpsons is that they've never had to do it. So I don't know whether or not it would be different. I don't know. I may be overthinking this. Cassie says Wallace and Gromit just did it. Having only one regular speaking character made it a tad easier for them. This is true. This is very true. Good old Wallace and Gromit. Oh, bless him. Anyways, I need my dark areas color for this piece, and I need to figure out exactly how I'm going to compose the background, because I want to keep it relatively simple and straightforward and not too crazy with background gubbins, but I also don't want to make it boring, you know? It's sometimes a fun exercise trying to figure out how to balance the two of keeping it reasonably simple so I can get this finished today, but also not letting it be just straight up boring. God, what the heck am I gonna do for Wednesday? I am so... That prompt threw me more than any other prompt this month. Pretty much every other prompt I've been like, okay, yeah, I can do that. But Fluke? They're just so gross. And gross doesn't really work with my aesthetic. So I tried to draw something and I'm like, you know, I viscerally hate what I've drawn. So I'm gonna need to pivot and try something else, I think. I might just do a painting in like the waterways of like the little guy running from some nasty fluke creatures. They're just like, nope, this is nasty. I'm out of here. Why are we traversing this nightmare area? Which, you know what, is a fair question, little buddy. A really fair question. Okay. Rex says, with voice actors, it can be a little different because there's so many people that are like professionals at doing their impressions. Yeah. And they can fire someone that can do the voice. Yeah, absolutely. I.e. Charles Martinet retired from Mario, and the replacement is seamless unless you, like, analyze the waveforms directly. Oh, I believe it. Some people are very, very good at picking up on how a character voice is done and recreating that character voice. And it's really impressive. But yeah, but with non-main characters, they will usually retire the character in something like The Simpsons out of respect and write in a new character. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think they can get away with that in a show like The Simpsons because there is such a huge cast that, you know, if these like 5 or 6 characters aren't making an appearance in new episodes, you can kind of understand, and like it's fine and it doesn't impact the stories because there's so many other characters that they can draw from. They can always create more other new characters as well. But, you know, if Maggie decided to leave the show, you might have some problems. Anyway. So here's the floor. We'll probably have to add some additional detail to the floor as well. And trying to figure out right now how I want to do the background. Do I want to more or less kind of paint it in, and then while the paint is still kind of wet, do I want to do, I think I might just do some like strings of these interesting sort of chandeliers that they've got up above, and then maybe a little hint of these sort of weird, let me show you a screen cap of the area as such as it looks in game. So you can see what it is that I'm talking about, rather than me just trying to describe it to you. This is a bit more illustrative, because this is the area as it looks in game. There's some creepy stuff going on. I'm making it a little bit less explicitly cobwebby, and a little bit friendlier, I guess. But I want to get some suggestion of these sort of details, like this kind of the spidery weaver dealy in the background, and the interesting light fixtures that they've got up top, I think are quite cool, and we could add that in. Anyways, Rex says, if The Simpsons is anything like Futurama, though, every voice actor does like 30 plus characters. Also true. Also true. Because again, the cast of characters is like, it's gotta be hundreds. It's gotta be as many as there are Pokemon, I would think. But yeah, the critical, okay, so Casa says, the critical role cast have mentioned getting sent themselves as like a casting note and then not getting cast for that thing. So, okay. So the casting director of whatever they're going for, if I'm inferring correctly, wants Laura Bailey, but then doesn't cast Laura Bailey. That feels weird. Like, if you're like, yeah, we need a Laura Bailey type for this role, and then then that person doesn't get interesting choices being made there. For sure. Wow, that's weird. I would feel super strange about that, for sure. Okay, I want this floor to be, like, quite dark. So I'm gonna give it a second pass, because usually the floors are quite saturated. Close to black. Sometimes they've got more sort of greebling on them, and I think I might add a little bit of greebling to this when we're done, depending on how much time I have and whether or not I feel like doing it. Yay! And now this needs to dry. Oh no. How's this one drying, by the way? Does it look okay? Does it look good? Actually, yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, while this bit of floor dries, I'm going to take the masking fluid off of this bad boy. It's okay if we don't finish this one today, because it's not it's for tomorrow. But I would really like to finish The Distant Village. Charlie Chaplin once entered and didn't win a Charlie Chaplin look-like competition, says Lino. That's honestly... That is simultaneously impressive and also a testament to the fact that, like... Oftentimes the caricature of what, like, it, you know, sort of a character or a person who is known for, like, having a specific look becomes kind of expands in people's minds to the point that it's actually, it becomes more itself than it actually is. Does that statement make sense? I hope it makes sense to someone outside of my brain. But I'm basically rewording in a more cumbersome way that thing that just happened to Charlie Chaplin. Or that didn't just happen, but just got mentioned in the chat. You know what I mean? Listen, it's Monday. And I don't have a particularly bad case of the Mondays, but my brain does. Anyways. Yeah. Alright. We're nearly there. We're almost done getting rid of this. I have been, I don't know if it's just like my masking fluid is getting kind of old. But I've been struggling to get it to do like a nice continuous peel when it's time to remove it, because sometimes you can just grab the end of the masking fluid and just but I haven't been able to get it to do that lately, and I miss that. Maybe I don't know. This masking fluid is getting quite low in quantity, so I'm gonna have to get new masking fluid at some point in the near future, but yeah. Rex says Bryan Cranston did a successful incognito cosplay of Walter White. No one noticed it was actually him. That's so cute. I love that. I would 100%, if I was an actor, and I will not be, but if I was an actor and I was known for playing a character, I would absolutely cosplay as them. Just for funsies. I think that would be such a good time. Rowan Atkinson has been told he looks like himself before. Delightful. I'm sure a lot of people who are like recognizable public figures do get that when they're just like in Tesco Express in Crouch End or whatever. They'll get someone who's like, "Oh my god, you know who you look exactly like?" And they're like, "No." And then it's just them, and they're like, "Oh man, thank you, thank you? Okay, bye." And it's like, no, that was just that person. It's so funny. Getting old, fragile, and low. Same masking fluid, same, says Lina. That is a mood. That is a mood. That's a big old mood. I need to start exercising more, but the trouble is I'm tired and everything hurts. And it's one of those things where I know that, like, exercise will help make my mood feel better and also give me more energy and more ability to focus and all that. But it's like, but I need energy and ability to focus in order to exercise in the first place. You want me to do an energetic walk? You need to give me energy to do the walk first, and I ain't got that. That's the difference. Anyways. Hello, Tals. Welcome in. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Monday. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Rex says, meanwhile, Adam Savage built a functioning Iron Man costume and flew into Comic-Con on a jetpack, and someone guessed it was him in the suit in like 4 seconds. I love that. I haven't seen him do the Iron Man suit, but I know he did like a really good Chewbacca costume at some point. and was like, is anyone going to, no one's going to figure out who's in the Chewbacca suit, because it's just a big Wookiee costume. It's a big fursuit. I'm gonna be unrecognizable, and I'm fairly sure that someone was like, hey, is there any chance that Adam Savage is in there? And he's like, yup. That's what you get for being really good at this stuff, is that people see a really good iteration of it and guess that it's you, Adam. That's amazing, though. I'm impressed. I used to do cosplay, but I did, like, bad cosplay. And by bad, I just mean that, like, I didn't really make a lot of stuff from scratch. I would just be like, okay, I'm playing this 1980s character from Doctor Who, and in order to do that, I'm just gonna buy an outfit that looks exactly like the outfit that they wore, and then wear that. Anyways, that worked very well for me. Though I did get this vintage coat that was... it was the right... it was the right, like, style of coat, and it was also quite oversized on me because it was designed for, like, a man of average height. So the sleeves were too long and it looked kind of rumpled and stuff, and so I did a second Doctor cosplay in it, and it worked so well. Just because I was very lucky to find, like, this beautiful vintage coat that is probably somewhere in my parents' house. Because I left them with a lot of old wardrobe when I moved here because I didn't have space for it. And then I lived here for many years and my size changed and I just bought new clothes. So they still have all of my old stuff, and I should probably just tell them they can donate most of it to, like, charity shops or whatever. But anyways... How was the Distant Village art? Is that a very safe bench that we should definitely rest at? We should definitely rest at it. Look, there's a crochet blanket to keep you nice and cozy. The villagers have brought the little guy a nice little cup of fight milk hot chocolate. And this villager's also got a little Victoria sponge. It's a nice time. Anyways. Sammy leaving the Doctor in the closet, SMH. No, I think the Doctor escaped the closet a very long time ago. Don't worry about it. Anyways. There is no bad cosplay, and buying costumes is still cosplay, says Roll. Hell yeah. I mean, I think there is certainly a creative aspect to, like, sourcing garments from weird sources that when you put them together, it's like, ta-da, now I look like, this 1970s. Oh god, there was the most stupid handmadeness I ever did for a cosplay was actually another Doctor Who costume. And I was an adipose, if you remember that episode of the 10th Doctor with Donna? Yes? Anyways, I got an oversized white sweatshirt and white gloves and white leggings and white shoes. And I painted a little sort of, like, adipose smiley face in fabric paint on the tummy of my shirt. It was the best. I got more photos from, like, everyone was like, can I take a picture of your cosplay? And I was like, yeah. It was so much fun. Costuming and wardrobe is an art, says Lino. It truly is. It really, really is. As I say, I don't really do cosplay anymore because I don't go anywhere. But I do still make clothes. I'm working on a new petticoat at the moment that I'm very pumped about getting done. I think it's going to be a very cute and hopefully very comfy. But it's also very much a just everyday garment for me. In as much as I just dress like a weirdo in real life. Anyways. Okay. This color is actually almost a little too gray. Like, I feel like there could be a little bit more purpliness to it. Shoot, I've already put the paint on the paper. I'm just gonna pick up some of this lavender paint from the pastel palette and try and stir it in. It hasn't really helped. It's just made it a little bit grayer. Oh well, whatever. Listen, this isn't a game screen cap. It doesn't need to be 100% perfect. It is completely fine if it's not. like, game accurate. This whole thing is stylized. Believe it or not, there isn't actually a crochet blanket on this bench in game. Spoilers, I guess. Spoilers for a game that came out, like, I don't know, 84 years ago. But here we are. Anywho. Shoot, we are hurtling towards another BRB. Before we do, I will finish getting this layer of background in, and then it has a chance to dry while we are away on our little breaky-do. And that works very well for me, I think. Hopefully it works well for you too. Anyways. But yeah, has anyone else ever built a jetpack for one of their cosplays? I'd love to hear about it. Or anything cool and cosplay related, in fact. Like I said, I don't really do that anymore, but I do make clothes. And that is a good time. I cut out the pattern pieces for my new skirt, and when I say pattern pieces, what I mean is, rectangles. Skirt is just rectangles. I love garments that are just rectangles. Those are most of the garments that I make. Shirt is just rectangles. Skirt is just rectangles. Anything else is too much faff to bother making. Alright, how am I doing for time? Oh, we're fine. Okay. Okie dokie. This is looking real, this wash is looking real spotty. I think I would like it to be a little darker in places. So I'm just gonna layer some more paint on top. And hopefully let it all kind of blend into each other, if it wants to. I hope it wants to. Because right now this game area is looking real weird. Oh no! Oh well, I think that underpainting is really doing its thing, which is important. And the rest is also doing its thing. And we will be adding more dimension and detail to this once this is dried down. Which will hopefully be by the time we come back from VRB, and if it's not, I will look at doing some colors of the other piece. Lino says, I once found a really good Guybrush Threepwood outfit for a work Christmas party. Precisely one person recognized it as more than a basic pirate. Oh man, that reminds me of the time that I dressed as Kess from Voyager. I got a BRB because the ads are running. I'll tell you about that when we get back. BRB, everybody. Oh no. And we're back, hopefully. Sorry about that, everybody. Welcome back. Hello again. Hope you had a nice BRB. I'm applying some hand cream because while we were away, I washed my hands. Wow. The bit that dispenses the Norwegian formula is so tiny, that it basically looks like spaghetti. Looks like I've got a spaghetti of hand cream. But it's also nice and thick. So it's good. I'm home, potato and oven, sink unblocked. Yay! Congratulations on the unblocked sink. Love that for you. But yeah, before we left, Lino mentioned that they once did a very impressive Guybrush Threepwood cosplay, and there was only one person at that party that recognized that it wasn't just a generic pirate. And you know, as someone who's done many costumes over the years that are very much on that level of like, this is almost exclusively for me, and I fully recognize that like no one else is going to know that this is from, you know, like in this case Monkey Island, or in the first case I could think of, the time I was dressed as Cass from Star Trek Voyager. Which, listen, I'd been binge watching Voyager at the time, and you know, most of the characters in Star Trek shows are out there wearing Starfleet uniforms, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to wear a Starfleet uniform. They look like pajam jams. But she got to wear, like, really cute little, like, interesting tunics and stuff, and I thought that they were neat. And so I found some, like, outfit pieces that worked for that I could also just, like, wear separately as elements of my own wardrobe, like, to work and stuff. And I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put on some little, you know, weird pointy ears. And also I had short, like, dyed blonde hair at the time, which did look weird on me. But it was a fun cosplay, and no one recognized it except this one man who was the husband of one of my literature professors at the time, and he was like, "Oh my god, you're Cass!" And I was like, "Thank you." Definitely one of those Star Trek characters with real unrealized potential. I feel like they could have done more interesting things with that character, but they were kind of like, after a certain point, they were like, we don't know what else to do with this character. And so she just left and was replaced by a character that they felt like they could do more things with. And then they did. So, you know, I mean, okay. Also, you know, I also really liked, I think Seven is a very good character, so, like, whatever. Anyways, enough Star Trek talk. I'm sorry. I'm getting real nerdy today. Believe it or not, I'm nerd. Speaking of Din Din, I'm having meatballs tonight. It is Meatball Monday. They are veggie meatballs. Excuse me. Because, such is, how I roll. And I'm trying to find where my, the reference photo that I pulled up of the, okay, yeah, there she is. I was trying to get a feel for what colors the pale lurker is and what color paint that I need for her. And I think I just basically need, her tunic thing, poncho, I guess. It's Hollow Knight, everyone's in ponchos, is kind of this brownish yellow color, so that's what I'm gonna go with. I think that'll work well. Hopefully it's not too colored pink by the amount of pink floating around in my paint water. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, I think this is a nice sort of just ever so slightly gross brown, so that's perfect for her, I think. Anyways, I do genuinely think that this character and this bit of the game is so sad. It's very, very sad. Also, I'm always super bad at it. Like, I can usually complete the boss fight in 1 to 2 attempts, but I'm still bad at it. Partially because I have no patience. And also I'm slow and confused easily, and it's a fast and confusing fight because she's constantly running away from you. But anywho. Okay. Okie dokie. Plop, plap. Good. Okay. I don't want to overburden my brush because I don't want to accidentally paint in areas that should not be poncho with poncho color. Some of which are probably just going to get painted black anyways, but some are not, like the key that she's holding here, which is her treasure. I want to make sure that I don't accidentally cover that up. Okay, anywho. I'm gonna do a cheeky self-promo if nobody minds, just because I did post a YouTube video last week, right at the end of last week. If you haven't seen it, it's there. It's the one that was posted 2 days ago. And I hope you like it. I put a lot of work and love and research and time and effort I went on a field trip for it. There's a lot there. And it did involve quite a lot of work. A lot of digging through, like, 18th century books and texts for relevant informations. And if you've ever had to try and read an informational book from the 18th century, you know, it's not always the easiest thing to get through. So, okay, there we go. I have done, actually, I like this. I think this is fun. Samantha, hello, welcome in. How are you doing? It's very nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. She said, I did it! I made it home before the rain happened! You did! Congratulations! I am going to be going for some minutes more, don't you worry. How are you, by the way? I hope you are well. It's very good to see you. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to once again set this beautiful lady to one side. See if this backgroundy bit is dry enough that I can kind of try and take out some of the elements that I want to not be so dark. Anyways, Sammy, you should not feel bad about self-promo. I always feel bad about self-promo. It feels bad, man. Samantha says, hey Chad, did you know Sammy has a shop where you can buy some of their delightful art? It's true, I do. I have a shop right here. You can buy lots of delightful art from me. I do have bad news about the shop, though. Some of you may have seen on Instagram that I posted that, international postage rates have gone up again. So I may need to look at adjusting my postage rates in the shop accordingly, but I haven't yet. So if you want to lock in those outdated postage prices, you can do that. But also, some months ago, Royal Mail announced that they're only making their special issue, like, cute stamps in the first and second class type. Which means that I don't get to put cute picture stamps on international postage, so you might end up just getting pictures of the monarch, which sucks, and I will try and do something like bonus and cute and cool, art-wise, to make up for the fact that once I run out of Dungeons & Dragons stamps, you probably won't be getting any more Beholders and Displacer Beasts on your parcels anymore. But hopefully people aren't just buying things from me for the sake of neat stamps. But if you were, I will try and make it up to my international peeps, because I love you and I appreciate you so much, and you deserve cool, fun stuff. Like, you super do. So don't worry, you will still get cool, neat stuff if you do pick up anything from shop. I will not be leaving you without cool, neat stuff. Anyways, I am going to mark out... My post office had exactly 2 options for international stamps the other day. The American flag and a sunflower, says Rex. Wow. Wow, very exciting. Amazing, love that. I've been using a Dungeons & Dragons stamp set for the last little while. I bought like a massive sheet of Dungeons & Dragons stamps right before the postage. So the postage used to be £2.50 internationally. And I bought a huge sheet of Dungeons & Dragons £2.50 stamps, and literally the week after it went up to £2.80. So thanks for that. So I ended up having to buy some 20 and 10p stamps to, like, make up the postage amounts on orders. But now international postage for a letter is £3.20. So the last set of orders I had to send out just have, like, you know, the cool Dungeons & Dragons stamp, and then, like, 6 makeup amount stamps next to it. It's very distressing. So yeah. Anyways, I'll be figuring out how to make international orders still cool. I have a whole big sheet of cathedral ones from Christmas, says Cassette. Ooh, nice. I love the special stamp issues that they put out. They do fun things with them. There was, like, a Warhammer set that was fun. But also I really like the ones that are just, like, wildlife. Ooh, there's also the set of, like British cryptids and stuff. And, like, legendary creatures. That set is so cool. I don't know what the name of the artist is that they commissioned to do the artwork for those stamps, but it is gorgeous. And I also just really like the ones that are just like river wildlife, and you'll get like this stamp has a picture of a trout, and this stamp has a picture of, you know, like a bird. It's delightful. Tal says, yeah, the British cryptid set was so cool. So cool! I am a big fan. The problem is that I will oftentimes like spend extra money on postagey type stuff because I'm like, aw, geez, like I want to use these stamps, but also I want to keep a set of these stamps because the pictures are real pretty, so I'll buy like an extra like single sheet of them to just like keep for myself, just because I think it looks neat. Which, you know, not the most cost-effective move when you're trying to run a business, but listen, I've never been good at running a business. I try my best. Anyways, Rex says, I'm glad the US does forever stamps. You pay for the postage by buying the stamp. It doesn't matter when. If you use the stamp 3 years from now, it's still valid. They do that for stamps if I'm sending things to other parts of the UK. Like, you can buy just, like, first class or second class stamps, and it's the same deal. But if I want to send something to, like, Germany or the States, and it seems like a lot of the people who buy things from my shop are from either Germany or the States. And I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. I really am. I have to actually put the, like, amount, so it just keeps going. I would love if they just did, like, a forever international standard letter stamp. That would be just my dream. Anyways, thank you for the hydrate mesh. I'm taking a sippy. Rex says, I won't need extra stamps if it gets more expensive, which is, it's about to, like, a month or so. Oh no, not again. Not again. Why? It just keeps... I swear they do, like... I swear it's gone up, like, a full pound in the last, like, year. It's just... It's so fast. Sammy Kelch, bad at capitalism. This is because they are a good person. Aw, thank you, Samantha. Thank you. I mean, if I was better at capitalism, I probably would have done a business degree instead of, like, a literary theory degree, so you ain't wrong. Germany, says Mesh. Yes, Germany. I like Germany, and apparently Germany likes me, kind of. So thank you, Germany. Anyways. Germany, the home of nice people and places I'd like to visit, and Sammy could sell that soap to partake in capitalism. I can't, Mesh. Okay, I didn't really get into it in the video, but do you want to know why I am not selling the, like, surplus soap from the soap video? Because I can tell you, the regulatory gubbins that go alongside selling soap are intense, because soap comes under the classification of a cosmetic. And as a cosmetic, it is subject, because, you know, it is something that is applied to, like, human skin. It is subject to some very stringent regulations. And don't get me wrong, I wholeheartedly support these regulations' existence, because I would not want there to be, you know, unregulated, unsafe bath and beauty products out there for sale. That's a bad. That's a very bad. We do not want this. But what this means is that in order to sell a cosmetic product like a soap, you have to submit a whole bunch of paperwork that outlines, like, here is the composition of all of the ingredients that I'm using. Here are the safety data sheets for all of the ingredients in this product. Here is a submission fee, which is in the hundreds of pounds, and this is just to sell it in the UK. If I want to sell in the EU as well, not only do I have to submit all of this information and safety data sheets and registration fees for the product, I also need to appoint a representative individual who is based in the EU to act on my behalf in order to sell soap in the EU, which is wacky. I guess, once again, I guess understandable, but within the scope of being an individual who, you know, is just like one person making peanuts a month from shop sales, it's not really a feasible thing to do, right? So that's a lot of hassle and a lot of trouble. And I think there are firms, there are like companies that will effectively agree to act on your behalf as your responsible individual in order for you to sell goods within countries in the EU. But you have to pay them a fee as well. And it's not worth it for me with regard to like my surplus amount of soap. It would only be worth it if I decided to go more or less full-time, or at least like large-scale-ish cottage industry making soap. Like if I was making enough soap that I was earning several £100s a month. But even then, I would have to submit a new safety data sheet every time I created a new soap. Because it's like, this soap uses a different fragrance oil, I have to register it again. That is another several £100 and another several, like, for the EU and the UK each. It's so expensive. I would have to basically know that I'm making thousands on soap every month in order for it to be worth me selling soap. Which is why I have elected to not do that, because that's insane and requires the kind of paperwork that I just don't have it in me to do. Unless I decided that I wanted to become like a full-time soap maker, which I do not. This does not include giving soap to friends and family as gifts. So I can give people soap as gifts. I cannot sell it. I could sell a print of a painting of soap, or a pin that is in the shape of some soap, or a sticker with a soap design on it, but I can't sell the soap itself. Can the UK please just rejoin the EU? I mean, God, I wish that, yes. I don't know why we should do that. I don't know why this isn't ever being tabled as a possibility, because personally, I think that would be great. I think a lot of the people who voted in favor of leaving the EU recognized that it was a mistake subsequently, but apparently what's done is done, and screw everybody who lives here, I guess. Or at least Scotland, says Mesh, but I live in southern England. And I don't know if I want to move to Scotland, because sometimes I like being able to just catch the bus and go to London for a day to visit the, like, three specialty food shops there that have ingredients I like to buy. Anyways. What was I gonna say? Hi from the raid, says Casey. Hello, Casey. Welcome in. How are you doing? Welcome. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Mesh says, so if I want Sammy soap, I have to import the whole Sammy, have her make me soap, and then ship her back. I mean, I could just bring you some as a gift. Like, I would gladly do that. If it means I get to visit Germany, then hell yeah. I can believe that selling soap would be more regulated than selling art. And fair enough, because there are people out there who would just sell, like, the dumbest crap. Like, there were people on TikTok saying that you should, like, you know, take a spoonful of borax and stir it into a glass of water and drink that every day for health. Borax is toxic. Like, that is, they're just out there spreading genuinely dangerous misinformation, and I am not here for it. You know? Unregulated beauty products, oddly enough, a terrible idea. You know what they used to put in beauty products? Not all of them, but in a lot of beauty products back in, like, several centuries ago. Lead. If you watch my YouTube video, you'll know that there's a recipe from Hannah Glass's The Art of Cookery Made Plain and Easy in which she's just putting lead in your soap. That's really bad for you. People used to make fabrics that had arsenic in the dye. Okay? Anyways, it's good that these things are regulated. In fact, I don't think you can get borax in Europe because it's toxic and there are safer, like, substances that do the same thing. Anyways. But yeah, just move to Scotland too. Easy, says Talls. I would love to visit Scotland for sure. Casa says, I just applied for my new passport. I will have to have the stupid Brexit passport now. No, I'm so sorry. Boo Werns. You know, maybe in our lifetimes it'll be overturned. That'd be nice. Anywho, I'll move the entire Sammy to a European country of her choice, including moderator/spouse. Awesome! Copenhagen, please. It doesn't have too many hills. And I like the food. Though that being said, I do want to remain a UK resident, because, God, it took a lot of immigration paperwork to get here. It's where my moderator/spouse is from, and it's also where my parents-in-law live, and it's nice to be close enough to them that we can see them from time to time, you know what I mean? Much more of a faff if we were flying over from, like, another landmass. Anyways, Tal says, I like the insight into the actual old recipes in your vid. Oh, thank you so much. Like, my favorite thing is getting to research and find, like, interesting examples of old recipes and sometimes recreate them. It's really fun. I do enjoy doing that, so and sometimes I spend months working on a video and putting a ton of time and effort and work into, like, the educational aspects of it, and I genuinely don't know if anyone cares about that but me. But, you know, sometimes I have a hyperfixation to indulge, and I'm just dragging you all along with me, so there. Anyways, Cassa says, make Scotland independent in exchange for an English resident refugee program. I would like Scotland to become independent and rejoin the EU, said Samantha. I would love that for them, honestly. Would love that for them. Sigh. Anyways, one of these days I will visit Scotland at least. But in the meantime, I want to add some additional little detail in the background here. So it's kind of this funky looking situation like this, sort of on the wall. I'm not super happy with where I've just placed it, but that's how it goes. And I'll kind of surround it with accoutrements so it doesn't feel too weirdly placed if I can. One of the things I do like about these paints is that they lift really well, so I can just do that. That feels really good. Nice and easy. Cassie says, I've always said I support Scottish independence if they let me come too. All the Twitch chat Brits can surely live in Kirsty's home. I mean, Kirsty's already got, like, multiple cats and dogs. Surely a couple of Twitch users will not be too obtrusive. You know, like, I'm sure... I was gonna say that moderator/spouse Twitch user / Callier and I don't take up that much space, but then I remembered just how many, like, art supplies I have, and just how many Warhammers and art supplies, he has. So this might be a problem, actually. She already adopted Zevi and Jam. This is true, and I love that for them. Samantha says, I planned ahead and moved to Scotland before independence. Honestly, love that for you. I hope you're having a wonderful time up there. I really do. Right. Need to get a look at what other funky little details I need to add to this. Okay, so there's kind of a... It's more like that kind of thing. And then I will use my tissue to do a little blot blot. And then over here, same deal. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Alright, wizard. Then I think other than that, this kind of kind of area that I've lifted out is kind of surrounded by a lot of these weird, like, actually, if I come in with an even finer brush, Kirsty's slowly building an artist's commune in her house. Nice. Is it an artist commune if there's two people? Because maybe I have one too. I don't know. Okay, the trouble with trying to do little, like, lift lines with this paintbrush is that it is very fine, which also means it doesn't hold a ton of water, so it's kind of harder to do. But I shall try my darndest to pull it off if I can. Kind of like this. I don't know, I'm kind of just letting it get kind of stylized at this point, because it is sort of a creepy background element. I maybe want to bring it a little further along this way, so it doesn't just feel like it's weirdly off to one side of the kind of focal point of the piece. Thus, so... And maybe just some funky little lines over there, kind of fading into the background. And then maybe if I just pop just some cobwebby lines over here as well. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's kind of working for me a little bit more. So anyways, yeah. Can you believe to learn I've lived in this country for, it's going on, it will be, I believe, Thursday is my 12th anniversary of British residence. And can you believe to learn, to know, that I've never been to Scotland? It's always just been that little bit too far away for, like, a single day trip kind of thing. So... and I found myself pretty much in a continuous situation where, like, either, I can potentially afford to go someplace for multiple days, and I'm gonna switch back to the slightly thicker brush here, I think, because I think we'll get slightly cleaner shapes with it. I can either afford monetarily to take several days to go up to Scotland and doot around and visit things and, you know, stay in a hotel and stuff, or I have time to take several days to go to Scotland and doot around and do all of the things, yada yada yada, but I cannot do both at once. I cannot do both at once. Annoyingly. Can't believe Sammy isn't British, says Mesh. I have permanent residency, but I do not have citizenship. I am allowed to live here. I have indefinite leave to remain, but I was born elsewhere. And in fact, I am working on the script for a YouTube video. I have a YouTube channel, by the way. I'm on that 200 creep. So if you're not subbed, I might actually post a video sometime within the next 2 to 3 months. And I just posted one last Friday. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. No, I've lost it again. Oh, yeah. So I was, I'm thinking about, I've been meditating on things that I've been living in the UK just long enough that I get kind of reverse culture shock when I go back to Canada. And it's a really weird experience, because it's like, this is where I'm from. All of these things should be normal for me. And then Like, people are scandalized if you say you know, like, you need to use the toilet, because they don't say that. They say bathroom. They say I have to go to the bathroom. But it's like, what else would you be doing in the bathroom if you tell someone that you need to go to the bathroom? Like, if it's like, hang on, I gotta go to the bathroom before we, you know, drive to the grocery store, chances are you're not going to the bathroom to read the newspaper or, you know, bake a tray of brownies. You're peeing or pooping. You're using the toilet. So, like, why would you not just say, hang on a second, I gotta use the toilet before we go? Like, who cares? That's such a weird thing to me. I'm so used to people just calling them the toilet. Like, who cares? Do you forget the taste of Tim Hortons? Oh no, that is well within my sensory memory. It will never leave. That is very important to me, Samantha. I will never forget. Cassie says, Kirsty, Zevi, Malk is in the house somewhere. Jam is currently there. Need one more and then it's a commune. There you go. Because according to one quoted source on Wikipedia, a commune needs at least 5 people. There you go. Go, Cassie, go. It's your chance. They don't know I'm real. They won't let me insist, Casa. I'm sure it'll be fine. We'll all vouch for you. It's all good. But no, I can very much, like, I can vaguely conjure the sense memory of, like, a Tim Hortons coffee. And you know, the thing about, like, a Tim Hortons double-double is that I don't go to Tim Hortons to get a double. Like, I see some people who are, like, coffee people who are like, Tim Hortons coffee is disgusting. It's so bad. Especially, like, Canadians who are like, it's so bad. This is disgusting. But these are people who only drink, like, black coffee. So they go to Tim Hortons and they ask for a black filter coffee. And I'm like, that's not how it's meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be enjoyed as, like, a silly coffee with sugar and half cream. So if you're judging it on the merits of being a black filter coffee and you normally drink, you know, like a nice geisha from Peru from, like, a micro roastery in Roncesvalles, then, like, yeah, you're gonna be like, this is barely adequate. But if you enjoy Tim Hortons coffee as God intended, with, like, cream and sugar, it's a nice treat. So there. You're not judging it. If you're comparing it to a specialty coffee, you're not judging it for what it is. You're not meeting it where it is. You're holding it to a standard that it never purported to be. And I don't think that's fair. So, that's my defense of Tim Hortons and their adequate filter coffee, okay? Also, very sad to report that, like, nothing on the Tim Hortons menu is gluten-free except for the drinks. So I can't eat the donuts anymore. Guess I'll die. I'm so sad. Anyways. I just loaded the demo for a game, says Casa, where you run a Japanese konbini. And an important note, the shop is clearly 7-Eleven. And it's called Honky Punky Konbini. Okay, that's adorable. But also I love the fact that it's just clearly a reskinned 7-Eleven, probably because they weren't allowed to call it a 7-Eleven. Mesh is disappointed that it's not Family Mart. Are you a Family Mart enjoyer more than a 7-Eleven enjoyer? Because fair enough. Today I learned Sammy has strong opinions on Tim Hortons. I do. You didn't even need to do, like, a tell me about coffee redeem. I'm just gonna... Sometimes I'm an opinionated little so-and-so, and I cannot help it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're just gonna have to deal with it. Anyways. But you know, sometimes it feels good to have opinions. Sometimes it feels good to have opinions. Anywho. Famichiki for life, says Mesh. Fair enough. As a non-chicken enjoyer, I can't ever offer opinions on the various konbini chicken, fried chicken offerings. But I will be judging their onigiri. Very, very stringently. Anyway, I think I can remove the masking fluid now, which is very exciting. I don't think I'm not gonna be able to finish this on stream. Oh no. Oh no. But you know, that just means that chat's been popping off, and y'all have been sparkling company, and I've really been enjoying getting to talk to you all. So, I have no complaints. But let's at least lay down the base colors for these guys, and I might just have to drop in after dinner and complete the line weights for them. That's fine. Okay. All right. I have to look at my references for the village, because I don't fully remember what they look like. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of this yellowish color that I've got here, and I'm gonna blend it with a little bit of what I think they call peach, and try and create a nice golden cake sponge hue. Oh, that's lovely. That's for sure the golden exterior of a nice Victoria sponge. So I love that for us. And I need to look up what color their like robes are. I think they're kind of red-ish. The ones that aren't in heavy shadow are kind of red-ish. So what I'll do is I'm going to combine the reddish black with a pink that I have. Not this orchid pink, but a slightly warmer pink, which I think is pink flamingo. And I think that'll look really, really cute. Anyways, I assumed it would come with maple syrup as standard, says Samantha. Oh, I wish. Maple syrup is, even in Canada, maple syrup is really expensive. So you would be hard pressed to find an abundance of real maple syrup, even at like a place like Tim Hortons, because they're known for being, not very expensive. There is a maple donut, though. There's a couple of maple donuts, I believe. There's like a maple cream filled donut, and then there's a maple glazed like ring donut. Both delicious. Though my favorite donuts would be the Boston cream, which, if you're not familiar with the Boston cream donut, it is amazing. It is a filled donut that is filled with a like custard pastry cream situation, and then has a chocolate glaze on the top. So like it's just such a winning combination. And having been to Boston and had the Boston cream donut from Dunkin' Donuts, don't come at me, Bostonians. The Tim Hortons Boston cream donut is better. I'm sorry, it just is. I was not nearly as impressed by I was excited to try the Boston cream donut from Dunkin', and I did not think it was as good. Sorry. That being said, the Boston cream cronut fit. The Boston cream cronut was fit. The Boston cream donut, underwhelming. Not as good as Tim Hortons is. I'm sorry. The other one that's my favorite is the oh, come on, brain. Brain is not braining. It's the old-fashioned plain donut. That's it. It's literally just a plain cake donut. No sugar dusting, no glaze. I will also accept the old-fashioned dip, but it's not a regular menu item at like any Tim Hortons anymore. It used to be. The old-fashioned dip is just an old-fashioned donut that's been dipped in chocolate glaze. That's, again, delightful. Though the best one, old-fashioned plain. Just a plain old cake donut. Nothing wacky. Maybe I'm boring, or maybe just I appreciate subtlety and nuance in my food sometimes. Whom's just to say? Don't know. But anyways, that's my goofy little assessment of which donuts are the best. Talsa's maple glazed is maybe my favorite donut. Excellent choice. Boston cream is also excellent. Wholeheartedly agree. I love a pastry cream situation. I love a custard situation. So if there's that going on in a donut, I'm probably a pretty happy camper. Oh boy. There was a donut stand that used to show up to the like street food market near an office I used to work in, and then we later found that they will sometimes visit a farmer's market that we sometimes go to on weekends. And I can't eat those anymore. I'm so sad. I'm gonna need to learn to make donuts, basically. So, yay! If you can go in and call it Timothy Hortons, do they let you see the secret menu? I don't think there is a secret menu. Though, I used to, when I was a university student and sometimes would have to get lunch at a Tim Hortons while waiting to be, like, picked up on the way home. Because there, for a while, so I was at university in one city that was about half an hour to 45 minutes drive from my city of residence. But the buses were very intermittent. So, there would be periods of time where, depending on what sort of contract and what office my father was working at, if my school day was finishing around the same time as his work day, and he happened to be on contract at a business that was in the same city as my university, I just wait for me to come pick me up after my lectures, and we would go home together. And I would wait at the Tim Hortons, and I would get myself a veggie sandwich. Was the veggie sandwich on the menu? No, they'd taken the veggie sandwich off of the menu. But if you just asked for a veggie sandwich, they would make you one, which was really nice. It was a very basic sandwich. It was just slices of tomato and cucumber and a cream cheese of your choosing on a nice crusty roll. What's not to love? But apparently it wasn't a popular choice because it was taken off of the main menu, which, boo! It's yummy. Don't be crappy. Anyways, I just realized I have to do this. Blanket is like a fun patchwork, so I need to bring in like an additional fun color. Is that too fun of a color? I feel like maybe that's too fun of a color. I don't want to pull it too far away from the color scheme we've got going, so maybe I'll bring in some of this cornflower instead and do some little like cornflower squares on the blankie. I think that's a little bit better. I think this one wants to be blue. And then this one wants to be blue. Wizard. Okay, I think that's all of the blue ones that I want. And I'll add some pink squares as well. But yeah, what's everyone's favorite donut flavor? There are no wrong answers. There might be one wrong answer. But there are no realistic wrong answers that you mean. Anyways. Okie dokie. Oh, yay, this blanket's looking cute. Also, it accidentally is the colors of the Bi Pride flag. I shall not complain about that because I think it's cute. And also, you know, I'm not saying that I chose to be bi because the color gradient appeals to me. It's just a happy coincidence that I am an enjoyer of a cool color palette and also a bi person. Like, good job me. Anyways. Yeah, having to think about all of these, like, Canadian observations has really made me feeling over the last couple of days very nostalgic for my country of origin. So yeah, I look forward to returning and coming home with a big box of Cheerios. Which is, of course, the food I miss the most. Anyways, I think I'm going to call it there today on the art. It's not done yet. I'm going to have to finish it off stream, which is a little much for me, but I really have to go. Ads would want to run shortly, and I would like them to not do that. And also I need to go cook dinner. So I am going to call it there for today and see if there is anyone on that we can raid. Where is my moderation? Where is my moderation window? Did I close it by mistake? No, here it is. Oh, thank God. I was like, where's my moderation window? Uh-oh. It's fine. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, everyone. Thank you again to Sammy Ann and to Jam for the raids. I very much appreciate you both. And thank you to everyone for hanging out with me today, for being very fun to hang out with. I'm gonna send y'all in the direction of a very reliable and cool streamer to hang out with, who I don't think I've raided in a little while, so that'll be nice. And who memory serves is also Canadian, so if you don't know Kev, who is a koala, you're gonna have a nice time hanging out over there. I am appending a generic raid message in the chat. If you have our emotes, feel free to grab the emotes. If you do not have the emotes, you can just say generic raid message, or feel free to append any cool emotes that you do have to the generic raid message. It's all good. I'll be back on Thursday doing some more Hollow Knight artwork, which the sketch of which will look a little bit like this. So that'll be a fun time, and I'm looking forward to doing it. In the meantime, I thank you so very much for hanging out with me today and stuff. Where's my OBS screen? There it is. Thank you very much for hanging out with me for this very silly stream, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. So, where's the where's the stream ending screen? Damn it, there's the thanks for watching screen. Good night, everyone, and good luck.